The storm hit like divine judgment, turning Adrian Blackstone's private jet into a metal coffin hurtling through angry skies. Lightning split the darkness in violent white fractures while rain hammered the aircraft with merciless intensity. At 32, Adrian had conquered boardrooms and built empires. But nature didn't care about his billion-dollar net worth. "Sir, emergency landing ahead." The pilot's voice cracked through static and thunder. "Small airfield 20 miles out." Adrian's knuckles turned white against the leather armrest. Through the rain-lashed window, he watched the world dissolve into chaos. The engines screamed against hurricane-force winds, metal groaning under pressure that threatened to tear them apart. The landing shattered every definition of controlled. Wheels kissed wet runway with bone-jarring impact, the aircraft hydroplaning across slick asphalt like a bullet ricocheting off steel. Adrian felt his world tilt sideways as they careened off course, sliding through mud and grass until pine trees brought them to a violent, shuddering halt. Silence fell heavy as a burial shroud. Blood trickled down Adrian's forehead, warm and sticky. The pilot slumped unconscious in his seat, breathing but still. Adrian's phone showed no signal in this godforsaken wilderness. He forced the emergency exit open and stepped into the storm's embrace. Rain soaked through his $1,000 suit instantly. Wind tried to claim him, but he fought forward, stumbling over rocks and fallen branches. His vision blurred, legs weakening with each step. But through the curtain of rain, he saw salvation, a faint golden glow in the distance. The cottage emerged from darkness like something from a forgotten fairy tale, stone walls wrapped in ivy, warm light spilling from windows that promised sanctuary. Adrian pounded on the heavy wooden door with fists that barely had strength left. The door opened. Green eyes, wide with shock, took in his bloodied state and rain-soaked desperation. Auburn hair framed a face that belonged in Renaissance paintings, not hidden away in this remote wilderness. Paint stains on her fingers told stories of artistic souls and quiet creativity. "Please," Adrian gasped, swaying dangerously. "My plane crashed. I need help." Without hesitation, she reached for him, her touch gentle but firm. "Come in quickly. You're badly hurt." As she guided him into warmth and light, Adrian felt his knees buckle. The world tilted sideways, consciousness slipping like sand through fingers. The last thing he saw was her face leaning over him, green eyes filled with a kindness so pure it took his breath away. But as darkness claimed him, Adrian's phone buzzed with a message that would have changed everything. "Target located. Extraction team en route. Eliminate all witnesses." Adrian woke to the sound of crackling fire and the gentle pressure of cool cloth against his forehead. Lavender and wood smoke filled his senses, a combination so foreign to his steel and glass world that he wondered if he'd died and found some unexpected afterlife. "You're awake." Her voice carried the warmth of honey poured over broken glass. She sat nearby, hands wrapped around a steaming mug, green eyes watching him with careful curiosity. The cut on his forehead had been cleaned and bandaged. Someone had removed his ruined jacket and shoes. "How long?" Adrian's voice came out rough. 6 hours. You lost consciousness twice. I was worried you had a concussion." She set down her mug and moved closer. "I'm Alara, by the way. Alara Thorne." Adrian Blackstone. Something flickered in her eyes. Recognition? Fear? It vanished before he could name it. "Your pilot," Adrian said suddenly, trying to sit up. Pain lanced through his ribs. "He's still out there. I found him an hour after I brought you in. He's in the guest room. Stable, but he needs a hospital." Alara's hands gently pushed him back down. The storm took out the phone lines. No cell signal either. We're completely cut off until morning. Adrian reached for his phone, but his jacket pocket was empty. Panic spiked through his chest. "I put your things on the table," Alara said softly. "Your phone kept buzzing. I didn't look." He lunged for it with desperate energy, ignoring the screaming protest of his body. 23 missed calls, 47 messages, all from the same encrypted number. His blood turned to ice water. "Adrian?" Alara's voice carried genuine concern. "What's wrong?" He looked at her then, really looked. The paint-stained fingers, the oversized sweater that hung off one shoulder, the way she held herself like someone who'd learned to make herself small in a world that took up too much space. "You need to leave," Adrian said, his voice sharp as broken glass. "Right now. Pack whatever you can carry and get as far from here as possible." Alara didn't move. "What are you talking about?" "People are coming for me. Dangerous people. And anyone near me when they arrive." He couldn't finish the sentence. Then we barricade the doors. We have until morning, you said. You don't understand. Adrian stood despite the pain, gripping her shoulders. These aren't criminals. They're professionals, trained killers, and their orders are to eliminate witnesses. Alara went very still. When she spoke, her voice was different, colder. How do you know what their orders are? Adrian's hands dropped. The question hung between them like a blade. Because, he said quietly, 6 months ago I gave those same orders to someone else. The fire crackled. Rain drummed against windows. And in Alara's eyes, Adrian watched something fundamental shift. Trust dying in real time. Who are you? She whispered. Before he could answer, glass exploded inward. The cottage window shattered as a canister rolled across the wooden floor, hissing white smoke into the warm air. Alara grabbed his hand. There's a root cellar. This way now! As smoke filled the room and footsteps pounded on the porch, Adrian realized 2 things. First, his extraction team had arrived 12 hours early. And second, Alara Thorne moved like someone who'd run from danger before. The question was, what was an artist doing in the middle of nowhere, living like a ghost? And why did she have a loaded shotgun hidden behind her easel? The root cellar was cold, damp, and smelled of earth and forgotten things. Alara had sealed the entrance with practiced efficiency, pressing a finger to her lips as footsteps thundered overhead. Men's voices, professional, clipped. Clear the main room. Check every corner. He's here somewhere. Adrian's jaw clenched. He recognized that voice. Marcus, his own head of security. In the darkness, Alara's breathing was controlled, measured, not panicked, not even surprised. And that shotgun rested across her lap like an old friend. You want to tell me? Adrian whispered against her ear. Why you're not terrified right now? Her eyes found his in the dim light filtering through cracks in the floorboards. You want to tell me why your own people are trying to kill you? I asked first. I asked better. Despite everything, Adrian almost smiled. Almost. Above them, furniture crashed. Systematic destruction. My brother, Alara said finally, voice barely audible. He stole $2 million from people who don't forgive debt. They came for him. Found me instead. I've been dead for 3 years, according to the world. Dead women don't paint. Don't live in cottages. Don't save bleeding billionaires. Adrian felt something crack open in his chest. Your brother? I haven't seen him since the night I disappeared. For all I know, they already found him. Her voice carried no emotion. Just facts, cold and clean. Your turn. I built my empire on information, Adrian said. Secrets, leverage. 6 months ago, I acquired documents that could destroy some very powerful people. Corporate espionage, political corruption, murder dressed up as accidents. I thought I was untouchable. He laughed, bitter as smoke. Turns out I'm just expensive to kill. So they waited for you to be vulnerable. And isolated. Adrian's hand found hers in the darkness. Away from witnesses. Except me. Except you. The footsteps stopped directly above them. Heavy boots. Patient silence. He's not here, Marcus. A different voice. Younger. Uncertain. Maybe he made it to the road. Check the perimeter again. And find the woman. She saw him. She's a liability. Alara's grip tightened on the shotgun. There's a tunnel, she breathed. Leads to the woods. My brother built it when we first came here. Paranoid bastard saved my life after all. Your pilot, Adrian started, is sedated and hidden in a panic room my brother installed behind the bathroom wall. He'll be fine until morning. Alara shifted, preparing to move. But we need to go now before they find the cellar entrance. Alara. Adrian caught her wrist. Once we run, we don't stop. You understand that? Your life here, your hiding place, it's over. In the fractured light, her smile was sharp as broken promises. I've died before, Adrian. I can do it again. They moved through the tunnel like shadows, earth scent thick and claustrophobic. Behind them, muffled shouts as the cellar door was discovered. They emerged into rain-soaked forest, darkness their only ally. Alara led with confidence that spoke of scouted paths and planned escapes. But 2 miles in, she stopped dead. Flashlight beams cut through trees ahead, behind, on both sides. They were surrounded. Marcus stepped from the shadows, gun trained on Adrian's chest. 3 more men materialized like nightmares, all armed, all professional. "I'm disappointed, sir," Marcus said. "I trained you better than this." Adrian stepped in front of Alara. "She's not part of this." She was the moment she opened her door. Marcus's expression never changed. "You know the rules. No witnesses, no loose ends. I'll pay you double, triple, whatever they're offering. This isn't about money anymore." Marcus's finger moved to the trigger. "It's about sending a message. Nobody runs from the consortium, not even you. Wait." Alara's voice cut through the rain. She stepped out from behind Adrian, shotgun lowered. "I know what he took from them. The documents. I know where they are." Adrian's blood turned to ice. "Alara, don't." She ignored him, eyes locked on Marcus. 3 years ago, a courier came through this area, injured, dying. He gave me a package before he bled out. Said it was insurance, said someone would come for it eventually. Her smile was cold. "I'm guessing that someone is you." Marcus lowered his gun slightly. "Where?" "Safe place, hidden, but I'll trade. The documents for our lives. Clean slate. No pursuit. We disappear, you get what you came for." "Alara," Adrian said through clenched teeth. "What are you doing?" She finally looked at him. And in her eyes, he saw calculation. Strategy. A woman who'd survived 3 years by being smarter than the monsters hunting her. "Saving us," she said simply. Marcus studied them both. Rain drummed against leaves. Men shifted in the darkness, waiting for orders. "Show me," Marcus said finally. Alara nodded. Started walking. Adrian followed, mind racing. There was no courier. No package. Which meant Alara was either bluffing, or she was playing a game he didn't understand. They reached a clearing, an old dead oak tree split by lightning. Alara knelt at its base, began digging with her bare hands, and that's when Adrian saw the tripwire she deliberately triggered with her knee. "Get down!" he screamed. The explosion tore through the night, swallowing everything in fire and thunder. Adrian's ears rang like church bells in hell. Smoke and fire painted the forest in hellish orange. Through the chaos, he saw Marcus on the ground, unconscious or dead. 2 men weren't moving. One was screaming, clutching a leg that bent wrong. Alara grabbed his hand, pulled him into a run. They crashed through underbrush, lungs burning, rain mixing with ash and blood. Behind them, shouts. Gunfire. But distant, confused. "You booby-trapped your own forest?" Adrian gasped. "My brother's paranoia, remember?" Alara's voice was steady despite their sprint. He wired half these woods before he disappeared. "I just knew where not to step." They ran until the forest thinned, until lights appeared through trees. A small town, civilization, safety, or so Adrian thought. Alara pulled him into an abandoned gas station, its windows boarded, pumps long dry. She was shaking now, adrenaline finally catching up. "We need to keep moving," Adrian said. "Find a car, get to the city, I have resources." "Stop," Alara's voice cracked. "Just stop." She slid down the wall, buried her face in her hands. For the first time since he'd met her, she looked breakable. Human. Adrian knelt beside her, pulled her against his chest. She didn't resist. "I killed them," she whispered. "I just killed people. You saved us. I'm a painter. I'm supposed to create things, not destroy them." Her laugh was broken glass. 3 years hiding, 3 years pretending to be someone else, and one night I become exactly what I was running from. Adrian tilted her face up, forced her to meet his eyes. "You're alive. That's what matters, is it?" Green eyes searched his. "Your people want you dead. Mine want me erased. We're ghosts, Adrian. Even if we survive tonight, what kind of life is that? The kind where we're breathing." She kissed him then. Desperate, fierce, tasting of smoke and rain and fear. He responded with equal intensity, hands tangling in her hair, pulling her closer. For one perfect moment, the world disappeared. When they broke apart, both were breathless. "We can't do this," Alara said. But she didn't move away. "Probably not. We barely know each other. I know you rig explosives and save strangers." Adrian's thumb traced her jaw. "I know you're braver than anyone I've ever met. You know I'm a dead woman who's very good at running. Then we run together." Her expression shifted. Something Adrian couldn't read flickered behind her eyes. "There's something I need to tell you," Alara said slowly, "about why I'm really here. About my brother." Adrian's phone buzzed. Both of them froze. The screen lit up. "One message from an unknown number. Found your weakness, Blackstone." Touching, really. "Didn't think the Ice King had a heart. Come to the old mill on Route 7. Alone. Or I start sending pieces of your pilot to the media. You have 1 hour." Alara read over his shoulder. "It's a trap." "Of course it's a trap." Adrian stood, began checking exits. "But they have an innocent man because of me. I'm not letting him die." "Then I'm coming with you." "Absolutely not. You don't get to make that choice." Alara stood too, chin raised. "I'm already in this. We're in this together now." "Alara, don't." Her voice went cold, hard. "Don't you dare try to protect me by pushing me away. I've had 3 years of being alone, being invisible. I'm done with that." Adrian stared at her, saw the steel beneath the softness, saw a woman who'd survived hell and come out forged. "Fine," he said, "but you follow my lead. No heroics," says the man walking into an obvious trap. They found a rusted pickup truck behind the gas station, hot-wired it with Alara's surprisingly efficient skills, and drove toward Route 7. Rain had softened to drizzle. Dawn was maybe an hour away. The old mill rose from the darkness like a rotten tooth. Broken windows, collapsed roof, the smell of mold and abandonment. Adrian parked a quarter-mile away. They approached on foot, moving through tall grass. "Something's wrong," Alara whispered. "It's too quiet." She was right. No guards, no lookouts. Just the mill, silent and waiting. They entered through a side door. Inside, moonlight filtered through broken ceiling, illuminating a single figure tied to a chair in the center of the vast space. Not the pilot. Alara's brother. He looked up, face bruised and bloodied, eyes widening in shock. "Ellie, oh God, Ellie, run!" Touching reunion. The voice came from everywhere and nowhere. Speakers, Adrian realized, hidden throughout the building. But a bit late, lights flooded the space. Adrian's eyes adjusted to find not Marcus, not a consortium team, but a single man stepping from the shadows, elegant suit. Silver hair. A face Adrian knew from 1,000 boardroom battles. Victor Kane, his former business partner. The man Adrian had betrayed to build his empire. "Surprise," Victor said, gun casual in his hand. "Did you really think the consortium was after you?" "I am the consortium, Adrian. Rebuilt it from the ground up after you destroyed me." Alara moved closer to Adrian. "I don't understand." "Your brother didn't steal from criminals," Victor said, smile sharp. "He stole from me. And when I couldn't find him, I found you instead. Kept you alive, kept you hidden. The perfect bait," he gestured to Adrian. "All I needed was the right lure. The plane crash," Adrian said, pieces clicking. "You sabotaged it. Forced you into a storm. Made sure you'd land near her cottage. Controlled chaos." Victor's expression was triumphant. 3 years of patience. But worth it to see you finally care about something other than money and power. Adrian's blood ran cold. This was all orchestrated, every moment. The storm, the crash, even sweet Alara saving you. Victor looked at Alara then. "Though I must admit, you played your part beautifully." Alara went rigid. "No," Adrian thought. "No." "Tell him," Victor said softly. "Tell him the truth, Alara." She didn't move, didn't speak, but guilt was written across every feature. "She's been working with me," Victor continued when she stayed silent. 3 years of protection in exchange for one simple job. Make the great Adrian Blackstone fall for her. Give me leverage. Finally, the weapon to destroy you completely. Adrian turned to Alara. Saw tears streaming down her face. Saw truth in her eyes. "Adrian," she whispered, "I'm so sorry." And with those 3 words, Adrian felt his heart shatter for the first time in his life. The warehouse smelled like rust and old rain. Emma's footsteps echoed on concrete as she stepped into the darkness. "Marcus?" Her voice bounced off empty walls. Lights flickered on overhead. Marcus stood in the center of the vast space, looking exactly as she remembered. Handsome in that calculated way. Dangerous in the way a snake is dangerous right before it strikes. "You came," he said. "I wasn't sure you would." Let Blake cupped her face with his cuffed hands. Don't you understand? None of that matters if you're not here. An officer approached with keys, unlocking Blake's handcuffs. He rubbed his wrists, never taking his eyes off Emma. Sarah Chen is in custody, the officer said. She's already talking. Gave us everything on Webb's operation. You're clear, Mr. Harrison. Blake nodded absently, his entire focus on Emma. Marcus was dragged past them in handcuffs, still screaming threats. Emma didn't even look at him. He was already a ghost from a life she no longer lived. They were driven back to the penthouse in a police car. Neither of them spoke. There were too many words and none of them adequate. Inside, Blake cleaned the cut on his head while Emma made tea neither of them would drink. The silence stretched like a living thing between them. I need to tell you something, Emma said finally. Blake turned to her, water still dripping from his face. When I came to that warehouse, I thought I was going to die, and all I could think was that I never told you. She took a shaky breath. I'm falling in love with you. I know it's fast and crazy and probably a terrible idea, but when Marcus had that gun pointed at you, I realized I'd rather die than live in a world where you don't exist. Blake crossed to her in 3 strides. Emma, I know it's not logical. I know we barely know each other, but somehow it feels like I've known you forever. Tears spilled down her cheeks. And I'm terrified because everyone I've ever loved has hurt me or left me or died, but I can't help it. I love you. Blake kissed her, slow and deep and full of promise, full of everything words couldn't capture. When they broke apart, his forehead rested against hers. I fell in love with you on those stairs, he whispered. The moment you crashed into me, before I knew your name or your story, I looked into your eyes and thought, there you are. Finally. Blake. I know it's insane. I know we have so much to figure out, but I also know that I've spent my entire life building walls to keep people out. And then you stumbled through every single one of them like they were made of paper. His thumb traced her cheekbone. I love you, Emma, completely, terrifyingly, irrevocably. Emma kissed him again, pouring every emotion she couldn't name into it. Relief, gratitude, hope, love. So much love it terrified her. When they finally pulled apart, both breathless, she rested her head against his chest. His heartbeat was steady beneath her ear. Real. Alive. Safe. What happens now? She asked. Now Marcus goes to prison for a very long time. Sarah too. The charges against me are dropped. Harrison International releases a statement. We deal with the media circus. He tilted her chin up. And you never have to run again. And us? Blake smiled. That rare, genuine smile that transformed his entire face. Us. We take it one day at a time. We go to therapy probably. We figure out how to build something real out of the chaos we started in. That sounds hard. Probably the hardest thing either of us will ever do. Worth it, though. Blake pulled her closer. Emma, you're worth everything. She closed her eyes, letting herself believe it. 6 months later, Emma stood in the penthouse she now called home, watching the sun set over the city. The sky was painted in shades of gold and amber, like the world was catching fire in the most beautiful way. Blake's arms wrapped around her waist from behind. She leaned into him, feeling the warmth of his body, the steady rise and fall of his breathing. You ready? He murmured against her hair. Nervous. Don't be. They're going to love you. Tonight was the Harrison International Charity Gala. Emma's first public appearance as Blake's partner. The press would be there. Questions would be asked. Cameras would flash. Their story would become public property. But Emma wasn't afraid anymore. Marcus was serving 15 years for corporate espionage, assault, stalking, and attempted murder. Sarah Chen had made a deal, testifying against him in exchange for a reduced sentence. She'd be out in 5 years. Blake's company was stronger than ever, rebuilt on a foundation of transparency and trust. And Emma had started her own architecture firm, designing safe spaces and transitional housing for domestic violence survivors, turning her pain into purpose. Her trauma into transformation. She was healing. They both were. Some days were harder than others. Some nights she still woke up from nightmares, but Blake was always there, holding her until the fear passed. I never thought I'd have this, Emma said softly. this life, this love, this future. Blake turned her in his arms, his blue eyes warm in the fading light. Neither did I. I thought I was too damaged. Too much like my father. You're nothing like him. I know that now. You showed me. He kissed her forehead, gentle and reverent. You saved me, Emma. In every way a person can be saved. We saved each other. Blake pulled a small velvet box from his pocket. Emma's breath caught, her heart suddenly thundering in her chest. I know it's soon, he said, his voice rough with emotion. And I know we said one day at a time, but I also know that I want every single one of those days to be with you. He opened the box, revealing a simple diamond ring that caught the sunset light and scattered it like stars. Marry me, not because it's logical or expected or the next step, but because I can't imagine my life without you in it, because you're the best thing that ever crashed into me. Emma looked at the ring, at Blake, at the reflection of them both in the floor-to-ceiling windows, wrapped in golden light. She thought about the scared woman who'd stumbled up those marble stairs 6 months ago. The woman who'd been running for 2 years. The woman who thought she'd never be safe or loved or whole again. That woman was still part of her. Would always be part of her. But she wasn't that woman anymore. She was someone stronger, braver. Someone who'd learned that love didn't have to hurt. That protection didn't mean possession. That broken things could heal without losing their beauty. Yes, she whispered, tears streaming down her face. Yes, I'll marry you. Blake slipped the ring on her finger with trembling hands, then kissed her like they had all the time in the world, because they did. No more running. No more hiding. No more fear of what came next. Just 2 broken people who'd found each other in the chaos and decided that broken together was better than whole apart. 2 people who'd learned that sometimes the most beautiful things are born from collision, from falling, from taking the risk to catch someone else mid-fall. Emma had crashed into a wedding late, spilled wine on a billionaire's chest, and collided with a man who couldn't take his eyes off her. And in that collision, in that perfect, clumsy, fateful moment on marble stairs, they'd both finally found home. The city lights began to flicker on below them, one by one, like stars coming to life. Blake held her close. Emma held him closer. And somewhere in the distance, church bells rang, celebrating endings and beginnings and all the beautiful, terrifying, perfect moments in between. The end go. This is between us, Marcus laughed. This stopped being between us the moment you ran, Emma. You made me look weak. Do you have any idea what that did to my reputation? Your reputation as what? An abuser? A corporate spy? As a man who controls his assets. He moved closer. You were supposed to be my perfect wife. Beautiful, connected, useful. Instead, you became a liability. I was never an asset. I was a person. Semantics. Marcus pulled out a gun. Emma's blood froze. Here's how this is going to work, Marcus continued conversationally. You're going to sign a confession stating that you helped Blake Harrison embezzle money from his own company, that you were his accomplice, his lover, that everything was a scheme to destroy me because I discovered your fraud. No one will believe that. They will when they see the evidence Sarah planted. Bank transfers in your name, emails from your account. It's remarkably convincing. He smiled. You sign or I shoot you. Either way, Blake Harrison's life is over. But if you sign, at least you get to live. Emma's mind raced. If she signed, Blake would go to prison for crimes he didn't commit. If she didn't, Marcus would kill her and frame Blake for her murder. There was no good choice. Okay, she said quietly. I'll sign. Marcus's smile widened. Smart girl. He produced papers from his jacket. Emma took them with shaking hands. She scanned the confession, each word another nail in Blake's coffin. Where do I sign? Bottom of each page. Emma picked up the pen. Her hand hovered over the first page. Then she heard it. The faint sound of footsteps on the warehouse roof. Marcus heard it too. His gun swung toward the sound. You brought someone. His voice turned venomous. Stupid, Emma. I came alone. I swear. The skylight above them shattered. Blake dropped through it like an avenging angel, landing hard on the concrete between Emma and Marcus. He was still in handcuffs. Still in his wedding attire, but his eyes were pure fury. Get away from her, Blake growled. Marcus aimed the gun at Blake's chest. "You're supposed to be in custody." Turns out security footage from the wedding shows Sarah Chen and you having a very interesting conversation. "The police are very motivated to find you now." Blake moved forward despite the gun. "It's over, Marcus." "It's not over until I say it's over." Marcus fired. Emma screamed, but Blake had already moved. The bullet sparked off the concrete where he'd been standing. He tackled Marcus, the two men crashing to the ground in a tangle of limbs and fury. The gun skittered across the floor. Emma dove for it. Her fingers closed around cold metal just as Marcus threw Blake off and lunged toward her. She raised the gun with both hands. Finger on the trigger, Marcus froze. "Emma, put the gun down," he said carefully. "You're not a killer." "No," she agreed. Her voice was steady. "But I'm a survivor." Police lights flooded through the broken windows. Sirens wailed outside. Marcus looked around wildly. Trapped. "This isn't how this ends," he snarled. Blake stood slowly, blood running from a cut above his eye. "Yeah, it is." Officers poured into the warehouse. They tackled Marcus, cuffing him as he screamed threats and accusations. Emma lowered the gun. Her whole body started shaking. Blake crossed to her, taking the gun gently from her hands. Then he pulled her into his arms despite the handcuffs, despite the blood, despite everything. "You were supposed to stay at the penthouse," he murmured into her hair. "You were supposed to stay in custody. David called in every favor we had. Security footage proved the documents were planted. They had to release me." He pulled back to look at her. "But that doesn't explain why you came here alone." "I had to. He was going to destroy you." "So you were just going to sacrifice yourself?" "Yes," Emma met his eyes. "Because you sacrificed everything to protect me. Your reputation, your company, your freedom. It was my turn, Blake."